I teach a class at Creative Life Spiritual Center where I'm one of the ministers, and it's called Heartfelt Speaking. And one of the top 3 fears in life, fear of death, fear of being found out, fear of speaking. Sometimes it's fear of being found out that I have a fear of speaking. But in Heartfelt Speaking, what we do is we gather the love energy so that the people who are listening and the person who is speaking become one in that love energy. And so when I gathered the energy this morning, that was my thought, that there is this love energy that is present and it permeates everything. And so regardless of what fears we might have, what inclinations to be anxious or a little nervous, there is this love that stands firm, and we can offer it and give it and receive it in our lives with each other. And so that's what you do at Agape, right? Yeah. So when Lee asked me to speak and asked me what I would like to speak about, the topic kept coming to me, born to love. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is Agape. They know about love. What can I say about love that they don't know? I mean, you walk in, I've been here before, I've walked in, and what do we experience? We experience joy and creativity and abundance and the beauty of each other, and it's all underlying with love. Love is what propels all of that. And so what I decided was that maybe I'm the one that needs to learn a little bit more about love. And so sure enough, that's what I've been doing. And so I have a few thoughts to share with you this morning. And they're probably thoughts of what you already know, and yet maybe in a different way. Thoughts that remind you of something in your life that you'd like to focus on maybe a little more. Maybe bring a new part of yourself that loves to an even greater extent into that part. So I have the first thought that already has been sung, and that is that love is very natural and it's very easy. And it is that way because we are indeed born to love. And sometimes we get blockages to that love. Sometimes we put blocks to that love. And sometimes we focus on those rather than the love that really wants to be expressed. So I thought I would start with just saying that Ernest Holmes, of course, talked a lot about love. And I want to read just one thing that he offers in this little book called A Holmes Reader. And you can find these thoughts in Science of Mind text. You can find them in Science of Mind magazine, I think the February issue. But he says the only person who knows anything about love is the one who loves. And he also says, we are so constituted by life that we want to love and be loved. We want to sing and dance and be glad. We want to be friends and have friends. We are born with an urge to express life. We are born with a desire to unite our living with others, to enjoy people and live creatively. It seems as though something dynamic entered into us when we were born, an impulse to participate in joy of living, to give vent to those thoughts and feelings, those emotional urges and impulses which every normal person has. And he says, now you might ask, what does this have to do with love? He says it has everything to do with love. For love is the givingness of self, the imparting of the self to other people, the projection of the self into the activities of life. Love has another need of its own. It must be loved in return. You not only wish to love others, you wish them to love you. When you love others and they return this affection, you are happy, and the circle is complete. So, as I've studied a little bit more about love, I've noticed that love is indeed underlying happiness and even abundance and creativity and joy and the intelligence and brilliance that we express. Kennedy Schultz, one of our organization's leaders who went to another dimension, was teaching a class one time, and he was talking about all these things, and somebody raised their hand and said, well, where does the love come in? And Kennedy Schultz, in his very focused and intentional manner, said, well, I think a better question is, where does the love go out? And so he said no more. We all got it. So what I'm going to offer you today is what I've been exploring about love, the expression of it, to be able to express more of it, and what we come up against when we block it. What are those things that we can be even more aware of that might help us through the week and through our lives to be happier, to be more joyous, to be more loving? So I'm doing something that I do a lot. I'm using the first letters of a word to help me remember what it is that I want to share. I heard a minister one time say, people in our passage of life, not yours but mine, don't have babies for a good reason, because we would put them down and forget where we put them. And sometimes we might even forget what we put down, and that would not be good. So I have grandchildren instead, and I always remember where I lay them down. So the first word that I have to offer to you all is ask. And that word, of course, starts with A. And then the other four words, the next one starts with G, the next one A, the next one P, and the next one E. So hopefully I'll remember what it is I want to share, and maybe using this little method you will take something away that you can remember as well, because we all know the word agape. So the first word, ask, has another part to it, and that is ask the ultimate question. Well, what is the ultimate question? I mean, there are a lot of questions in life. And what I've been studying is a book called Choice Theory, which is very aligned with what we study in Science of Mind, because we know that we are responsible for our own choices, even though sometimes we forget that we have an array of choices in life. So this is to help us remember that in our relationships, especially the relationships that are close to us, people who are close to us and we want to be close to them, there is an ultimate question to ask. And this comes from William Glasser, and he says the ultimate question is this: is what I am about to say or do going to bring me closer to this person or farther away? Is what I am going to say or do going to bring me closer to this person that I love and want to feel closer to, or farther away? And William Glasser went so far as to even put it on a refrigerator magnet. And I'm thinking, this is one valuable refrigerator magnet, because anytime I go to the refrigerator, there is that question. And, you know, the question is small, the magnet is small, but he even has two other lists that he puts on this magnet. And one list is the 7 deadly habits, And one list is the 7 caring habits. And the 7 deadly habits are those things that cause us to feel farther away from other people, especially those that we want to feel closer to. And the 7 caring habits are those things that we can remember that help bring us closer together. So the 7 deadly habits are criticizing, blaming, complaining, nagging, threatening, punishing, and rewarding to control. So those, in a nutshell, are the things that block our loving expression and the expression that other people might have that is loving toward us. And we could do a whole workshop on those habits, but we won't, because they're kind of negative, and I don't want to really spend any more time on them today. But the caring habits are habits of supporting, encouraging, listening, accepting, trusting, respecting, and negotiating differences. And he has a little practice that people can do when they want to negotiate differences. And interestingly, the practice is to sit in a circle together so that we have the sense that indeed we are one, we are on the same side, and we can come together and negotiate from the place of love. So hopefully, being aware of these can help release actions that we don't want to have in our lives, words that we don't want to say, and to express through actions that we want to have and choose words that we do want to say. And you may be aware of the 90-year-old woman who must have known about these habits because she went through 3 marriages. She unfortunately, or fortunately, outlived 3 husbands who were very wonderful and she loved very much. And this woman was about to have her 4th marriage. And so that's why the newscaster was interviewing her. Can you imagine? Of course, 90 is the new 60, right? And so she was very energetic, and the newscaster said, What is it that you'd like to tell me? Maybe something about these husbands that you attracted, because obviously you had something going on and they had something going on. So what was it about these husbands that you can tell me? And she said, well, the first husband was a banker. He was very successful. The second husband was a trapeze artist in a circus, kept things lively. The third husband, let's see, what was the third husband? Oh, preacher. Third husband was a preacher. That's all she said. And so she said, then the 4th husband is an undertaker, a funeral director. And the news reporter said, wow, what was it about those interesting men that you loved? And she said, well, I married all 3 of them for a reason, and the 4th one as well. First one, 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, and 4 to go. So the next letter that I think might be helpful for us to use is the letter G. Now, I thought if my talk goes really long, I could just use this word that starts with G, and it's the rest of Agape, and it's gape. Gape. Mouth open, eyes big, totally surprised, astonished. That's what happens when we are reacting to that outside of ourselves, and we gape. And this practice is something that I don't recommend that we use a lot in terms of the outward gape. However, I think that we could really develop what I call the inward gape. And the inward gape would simply be looking and feeling as a response to that we are discovering in life that is so affecting us because of the love behind it, the love underlying the art, the music, the children, the places in our lives that are totally beyond what we could ever expect, and yet life graces those things into our lives for us to be able to feel, have our hearts opened, and have an inner gape. So I was sitting outside the room this morning, and I heard our musicians warming up, and when I came in, I said to them, as I was listening, my heart just flew open. You know, and I just felt tender and loving, and that's what music, really good music, like what they play, that's what music does. That's what creativity does. That's what affection does. Our hearts begin to open, and we feel that love that wants to come to us, and that love that wants to express through us. So I think that thinking about the word gape helps us become a little more physically involved with being astonished by love and all of the things that are created out of love. So I invite us to use the word gape to help us feel closer, to help us feel more at one with others in love. So there's a second A in Agape, as you know. And that A is what stands for what I call angel writing. Now, we don't talk about angels so much in our communities in United Center or Centers for Spiritual Living as maybe some of the other spiritual organizations. But like I said, I want to share a little bit about what has been coming to me. I've been reading a document called Letters from Other Dimensions. And I was kind of surprised, sort of gaping, when I was reading it, because it is a document of what is supposed to be channeled wisdom from Ernest Holmes, from another dimension. That would be after he left his body. And this document is not very well known. My mentor, Jesse Jennings, graced me with it, and I read it a little bit, and I thought about it, and I put it away on my shelf, and I kept coming back to it and coming back to it. And when I started teaching practical mysticism, I began to explore the document a little deeper. And I noticed that he talked about angels and hosts of angels. If indeed that was Ernest Holmes, and you know, why not? Why not go there? I mean, we have Abraham, right? So why not Ernest Holmes? And so he said that he felt like he had an angel when he was on this planet in his body, in this dimension, and he thought it was a guardian angel. And he said the other thing he thought was that angels were helping him communicate in the way he was communicating, studying and teaching. And he said he thought that these angelic energies were what was empowering and helping him. And they were assuring him that he was on the right path. And so I thought, well, that makes a lot of sense to me, because we talk about an impersonal God. Why would we not create and interact and entertain the idea of angelic energies and having that be personal to us? So in my studies, I came across this book again called The Prospering Power of Love. And in it, Catherine Ponder quotes Emma Curtis Hopkins. And Emma Curtis Hopkins in her mastery class, offered this secret method of prayer. And it has to do with writing to angels. So this secret method of prayer in Emma Curtis Hopkins' mastery class was offered to students, and it pretty much is a very simple practice. And that is, when you come up against a block or you come up against a stuck place, we can write to our angel. And indeed, we can write to an angel of someone else. So, I think it's a good experiment, and the reason I think that is because I've tried it. And I tried it with someone very close to me that I didn't feel like I could really communicate to with the language of the heart. I tried, but I don't know. There just wasn't the listening that at least I thought I deserved. So I began to write a letter to the angel of this person. And I wrote something like this: I know that this person has within them all of the listening power, all of the confidence, all of the success, all of the ability to communicate in an authentic way. All of that, I know, resides in this person. And I am here to look at it and watch it and interact with it. And I sent it off because we can do that. You know, Ernest Holmes said, we have in us this capacity to reach out and into other people, and they with us, because we are all connected. And so, sure enough, I'm talking maybe 2 days, I began to see a change. I was feeling a bit of a change in myself, right? And I was watching a change in this other person that I was very close to. So I invite you to experiment. Give this little angel writing secret prayer method a try when you think maybe nothing else is working, and see what happens. The fourth letter is P. And P for me is for pruning. Pruning, what do we prune? Dead branches off bushes, off trees. And what I've noticed is that when those dead branches that represent resentment or lack of confidence or lack of abundance or our belief in whatever, that the best way to prune is to sit down and contemplate. Contemplate my life. Contemplate what's not working. Contemplate what might be blocking my enjoyment, my happiness. So, as I was entertaining this word, pruning, which actually came from a chapter in Ernest Holmes and William Hornaday, Help for Today. The chapter is Curse and Blessing. And so I noticed that when I was unhappy or feeling stuck, that I was actually cursing places in my life or in me. I'm not enough. I'm doing a comparison kind of thing. I have a virus of comparisonitis I need to get over that's keeping me stuck. What example could you give, Marsha? Well, I don't know, maybe an example of coming to Agape today and speaking. Lee is here every Sunday, just about. Look at Lee. Tall. I'm short. He's very outward moving and loudly passionate. You know, I'm kind of a little more quietly passionate. He has a huge confidence, and I have big confidence. When we pray together, we say, "And so it is." He says, "Amen." I say, "All women." So, I'm doing this comparison. And I'm thinking, what if the people at Agape don't like me so much? What if they love the brilliance of Lee? And then, in this quiet place, I had some major pruning to do, right? In this quiet place of pruning, the thought came to me, after cutting off those dead branches, what if they appreciate, Marsha, your unique brilliance? What if all of us appreciate the unique and special brilliance of each other? That's what love does. That's what love does. So, Ernest Holmes and William Hornaday, one of them, they didn't say who in the book, had a client. And the client came in and she said, "I am really having this problem. I come to church every Sunday and I feel so inspired, so uplifted, so invigorated, so spiritual. And I go home, I go to work, and down the tubes. I feel hateful. I feel angry. I feel resentment. All this stuff in life comes up, and I react." And so, let's say Ernest Holmes said to her, "Well, I want you to go home for 1 week, and I want you to write out all the feelings that you have that are not the feelings that you want, and all the things that you see that you don't want to see, all the things that you're hearing that you don't want to hear, and bring those back." So she brought him back the next week. And he said, "Okay, let's look at these words of anger, resentment, worry. Not enough. And we're going to substitute the word love. We're going to substitute the word kindness. We're going to substitute the word compassion. And we're going to change your vocabulary, the vocabulary of your thinking, the vocabulary of your reaction." And so what he was helping her do is prune the cursing. How she had been cursing the events and the people and herself in her life. And all of that changed to blessing. Now that didn't happen overnight for her, but she persisted. She persisted in pruning, and she persisted in blessing. And we can too. So I want to close with the E word. And that E word is elevate and extend. Elevate our thinking to our imagination, and let our imaginations take us to a brand new place. And I want to share with you how my granddaughter helped me do that. One instance, at least. And I hope that you feel the blessing from this, because in my listening to her, I felt a true blessing as well. So my little granddaughter's name is Ellie, and we have a game that we play called Ellie's Cafe. And so she lives in the Seattle area, and here I am in Texas. And she calls me on the phone. We say, "Hello, hello. Are you ready to order, Noe?" She calls me Noe. That's my name instead of grandmother, because Noe is a Japanese word and it means from the heart. So anytime one of my grandchildren say Noe, I remember that I'm to come from my heart. So the more I practice this, the better I am at coming from my heart with others, right? So, Noe, are you ready to order? Yes, my little Ellabella. Is this your cafe calling? Yes, this is my cafe. Noe, I have everything today. anything you could possibly want, I have for you. So just order anything. Well, Elabella, do you have vegetarian hot dogs? Yes, of course, we have everything. Are they organic? Yes, they're organic. No, wait, everything is organic here. I think, she likes to not have a real long conversation. So everything's organic. You don't have to ask again. Everything's organic. Okay, so ketchup. Do you have? Yes, we have ketchup. In fact, I'm going to give you 2 bottles of ketchup because we have an unending supply of ketchup. Yeah, okay, all right. I'll have the ketchup and, of course, the organic. Yes, we have organic. Everything's organic. Mustard, yes, I'll give you a whole bottle of mustard, Noe. Okay, that sounds good. And is the pickle relish made from the cucumbers of your garden? Yes, everything that is vegetable comes from our garden. I said, okay then, that's what I'll have. Well, would you like something to drink? Oh, do you have green tea? We have everything. I'm going to send this to you right now. And by the way, we have a refrigerator. In case you want cheese, I go to that drawer and any kind of cheese I want, I pull out of that drawer. And it's delicious. And she said, so that refrigerator is magic. It keeps replenishing with everything. I said, well, what about the pantry? Oh, yes. The pantry has unending supply. And I said, wow. So she said, so I'm sending this to you now. She sends everything over the phone, right? Because we can do that with our imaginations. I said, how much do I owe you? Free. It's all free. As much as you want, anything you want, it's all free. Now, this is coming from a 5.5-year-old who has a fantastic imagination. So the games that we play are all geared to helping elevate and expand my imagination. So after we said goodbye, I began to think, what about love? What if there was a cafe with unending love? What if anything we ordered was unending and delivered by love? What an experience would that be? And indeed, it's true. When we sit down, we contemplate, we entertain the ideas of life that are true and rooted in love, it's free, it's unending, and it's wonderful. So I really thank you for being here today. I thank you for entertaining the 5 words. Spell agape. I thank you for being what I call the feast of love. Did you know agape, one meaning of agape is feast of love? It's true. I looked it up. So I thank you for sitting with me and being in the midst of this feast of love.